Good job, baby. She crawled out from underneath the excursion. It's a brand new day. Alright everybody, welcome back to Epic Cars. This is episode 2 of the 6.0 diesel new exhaust install. So what I'm going to be doing on this episode is essentially installing the new exhaust system in place on the 6.0 diesel. Then I'll be taking it out for some performance runs. We'll get some side-by-side comparisons of the sound, of what it sounded like before versus what it sounds like now, and give you a good, I guess, overall review of this MBRP 4-inch exhaust system. So it is a turbo back, so it goes all the way from the turbo, back of the turbo, all the way to the exit. One thing I have learned in the install process is this truck came with a catalytic converter, and they want you to put it back on with this system. I don't want to use the cat, so what I'm thinking about doing is doing some sort of modification. I think I've got some extra exhaust pipe around here, maybe some 4-inch around here somewhere that I can kind of cobble together. And I'm just going to bypass the catalytic converter altogether.
What am I doing?
Okay guys, here is my daughter, and she is going to be my helper today. So we got her a blanket, some gloves.
Dad, stop videoing.
Okay.
Right now.
No,
Dad.
this is the part of being a dad, is to annoy you. So I'm going to have her actually lying down underneath the car and holding up on that exhaust tube, the downpipe, which is right there. So that way she can hold on to it, and then I can let go with my other hand and go from there. I'm going to go ahead and lower the truck back down. She's going to crawl underneath there, lay on a blanket right there. It's not dangerous whatsoever, Mom, and we're going to get this thing started. Hello. I love my dad. He's the coolest dad in the world.
You're weird.
Yep. And I have to tell you that she wouldn't do this out of the kindness of her heart. What did you make me do, honey? She made me pay her $10 to help put that on. So, but we got it done. So $10, well worth it. Look how long this thing is. You know, I knew excursions were long, but that's ridiculous as far as the exhaust system. All right, guys, so I've got the system pretty much installed. What I ended up doing was, instead of making a piece, I went ahead and put the cat back on, because that's obviously the way the system was designed as far as length is concerned. So what I'm gonna do now is start it. So you can see right there, I do not have the tailpipe actually hooked up to the muffler. I want to see what it sounds like just coming straight out of the muffler rather than going through the tailpipe. I doubt it's going to be that big of a difference, but you know, might as well listen to it. What I'm thinking about doing later is go ahead and get the whole system installed and then come back later and build me a piece, because I want to make sure I do it right and weld on a flange and make sure it connects correctly. Let's drop it on the ground, see what it sounds like with just coming out of the muffler. Alright, I don't want to gas myself out of here. Let's see, reaction. I liked it better when it was coming straight out of the downpipe by itself. It definitely has a lower rumble from the stock. You can't hear as much of the turbo whine now that I put the muffler on. So, I'm trying to think, what if we do this? I'm just going to go no muffler. I'm going to take the muffler off. And let's go straight out of the cat and see what that sounds like. Okay, now I've got the muffler off and that little extension off. Now it's just coming straight out of the cat. Well, I don't know. It's still not near the whine that we were getting, obviously, with just the downpipe. That cat just takes so much away from it. So what I'm going to do, I'll go ahead and get the system back together, put the muffler on, put the tailpipe on, and then we'll do the 0 to 60 runs, and then that cat's got to go. All right, I got her all installed. She's all cinched up. Installed the entire system all the way back, including the tailpipe and the tip. I'm gonna wait till that tailpipe's way too long, so I'm gonna cut that back so that the tip doesn't show through on the tip there. But I just wanted to basically just get it together, and then I'll get back on the ground here and start it up, and let's compare some sound. Well, I would say definitely I can hear more turbo whine now than stock, and I don't know what it sounded like back here, but hopefully it sounded good. It's definitely got a deeper tone, and I can hear more whine from the cab. But we'll get it out on the road here in a little bit, do some 0 to 60s and then some big accelerations, and get a better idea. But so far so good. Let's get another angle. That sounds really good. I like it. Today it is cold. Man, I'm shivering. It's about 30 degrees outside. Probably wind chill is about 20. It snowed a little bit off and on today, so definitely cold and unusual for Oklahoma. We don't really get a lot of snow down here. Where I'm at is I got the exhaust system installed. Got it installed yesterday. It was raining and just kind of a nasty day yesterday, so I didn't go out and do 0 to 60 tests because I didn't think I was going to be able to even get traction on the road when I took off. So my impressions, first and foremost, it seems that I can hear a little bit more turbo whine in the cab of the truck, but it's definitely a deeper sound. And probably the biggest sound change that I've heard is at the exhaust tip itself. It almost sounds like a jet engine. It's got this kind of sound to it that was not there with the stock exhaust system. So again, not exactly sure why that's doing that. I'm assuming it's just got better flow in general, and so it's creating more exhaust coming out at a faster rate or something. I'm not really sure, but that's definitely a sound difference. Just a touch more in the cab in the driver's seat. It's got a little bit of a lower sound, a little lower tone coming out of the tailpipe, and it's got that kind of sound when it's just sitting at idle. So I guess its desired effects as far as a sound maker are there, but a little bit less than I expected. Performance wise, I just don't know. We're going to do the 0 to 60 and see if it makes any difference whatsoever. Remember, I got an 8 second, I got a 9.2 second, I got a 9 second, an 8.7. So I just went ahead and said probably 8.5 is what it's going to be. I'm curious to see what it's going to be this time, because I don't really feel anything different as far as the pedal's concerned. It doesn't feel like it's got more get up and go. When I did the exhaust system change out on the 6.5 liter diesel, there was a noticeable difference in the performance of the vehicle just by seat of the pants, driving it around. This Excursion, I don't have that, and I'm really surprised. I'm surprised that I don't have that. Now, I say I'm surprised. In one sense, I'm kind of not, because this still has the catalytic converter on it. It still has a lot of restrictive devices. It's got the cat, and then it's got the new muffler in line. So I have a feeling that taking off that catalytic converter is going to make a big difference. All right, let's do a first run. Hope this ain't a cop. Alright, we got an 8.7 on that first run. I think we can do a lot better than that. Go. Alright, we got an 8 second flat on that one. So, I have a feeling that this exhaust system is probably shaving off, on average, a half a second on a 0 to 60 time, based on what I'm seeing so far. Okay, I'm on the identical area, the identical section of the road that I was the other day now. I got a lot of traffic though, a lot more traffic, so I'm kind of letting it pass, and then we'll see what this run looks like. All right, let me hit my button. All right, 7.6. Nice. So I would say pretty definitively that we knocked about a half a second off the 0 to 60 time. But half a second on 0 to 60 is pretty good, in my opinion, especially on a vehicle this size. That's a lot of time to get up and get moving if you're merging on the highway, you know, something like that. So I think a half a second is where we're at. So instead of 8.5, probably on average on the stock, I'm getting around 8. In some cases a little lower than 8, so you could probably even make the argument that I'm getting more than half a second. But I think that's pretty good for a, you know, $270 upgrade. I would say it's probably just a little bit peppier, you know, when it hits the turbo and you know finally get it all spooled up. It seems like it's got a little bit more jerk to it, and maybe it'll even help with the fuel efficiency. We'll see over time. The excursion back on the lift today. I'm going to be kind of touching up some things that I just don't like, and then swapping out that cat for the straight pipe. So first thing I'm going to work on is, see how you can see that exhaust pipe inside there. I'm going to cut that exhaust pipe off to where it's a little bit further back on the tip right there, so that way you don't see that exhaust pipe. Secondly, I'm going to move the actual tip itself. See how it's sticking out a little bit past, let me get up here, a little bit past the tire. I'd actually like to have the top of the tip kind of just poking out right there. So I'm going to move this tip back right into that range as far as the exhaust system is concerned. That way it kind of just pokes out there a little bit. I'm not going to cut off the back yet until I have all that in place, and then I can make sure that where this exhaust pipe is exactly sitting is going to be in the correct location. It's not going to make a huge difference if it moves an inch or two either forwards, backwards, or sideways, but thought it would be better to get that done first before I cut the tip off. So again guys, what I'm going to do is I've got the down pipe and the connector pipe installed to this catalytic converter, and then you've got this short little section that was kind of got a little bit of a bend in it, and then it goes into the muffler. So what I'm going to attempt to do is get the pipe that I have over there connected to here all the way to the muffler and take out these two sections right here. In looking at it, the entire system put together, I think what I've come up with is I'm going to go ahead and use this part of this pipe to go ahead and have that flange still there. I don't have to weld on a new flange or anything like that. So I'm just going to cut it right about here on the catalytic converter, and then this connector pipe will slip right over that, and so it'll kind of come out to about right here, and then all I have to do is get a short section of pipe from that long pipe they sent me to go into this. And I'm thinking each one of these connections will work just fine, because this is a little bit smaller, so it should just slip right into this side, and then this side will slip right into the muffler. So I've kind of undone everything and gotten it loose. I was attempting to take everything off before I did this, but I don't see a reason why I can't just cut this right here while it's on the truck and go from there. I'm hoping there's not any material, like emissions material inside this pipe. I don't think there is. I think it's all in this canister right here. So if I cut into this, I'm not going to cause me to breathe like, you know, cancer causing stuff or something. I think that's just a pipe. And then all the media or whatever it is inside a catalytic converter is inside here. So I'm going to cut it right there, be able to still use this connection, and then graft on a section of pipe right there, and the catalytic converter is out of here, boys. There we go. Got her off. So now I should be able to just slide this out from this other pipe. Whoa, that's heavy. All right, so now she's cut apart. As I suspected, there's nothing inside here. It's just a pipe. So now I've got to get these two things apart. After you put the clamps on, they get a little bit cantankerous. Okay, so I've got everything here kind of sitting on my bench. So this is the piece that I took off that has the flange on it that'll screw on to that other flange. And then I've got this little small connector piece that's got a slight bend in it to basically put the muffler in the right position. So the reason I did this the way I did is because I knew this piece right here was a smaller 3-inch, and then it graduates up to a 4-inch, actually to a 3.5, and then it goes into the kind of gets progressively bigger as you get to the muffler. So this piece will fit right on this. It'll actually go right inside this piece. And about the only thing that I have to do now is it's just a little bit too small to go over this piece of the stock system. So I'm just going to take a pair of pliers and put it down here and essentially just flaring the top of this. So I just take a piece of pliers and I just kind of pull back. Very, I don't get crazy. I'm just kind of flaring it all the way around. They make flaring tools, but I just don't have one. And so with a good pair of pliers, you can put enough pressure on this and kind of see exactly where it's hitting on your pipe, especially if you got it on the bench like this, and just kind of flare it out a little bit. And then I'll continue to work that until I can get this piece to slide in. And I'm almost there already. It's in fact, it's already inside. So now now it went inside. Okay, another thing you want to consider before you start just beating this down onto this is you want to get your orientation of your two pipes correct. So I know that this is going to sit on essentially like this. So I'm going to try to back up here so you can see this. So it's going to be sitting on essentially with the hanger on this side, and it's going to be sitting like that. Well, I know now that if I turn the piece, the orientation of this little slight bend is not where I want it to be. I actually want this turned around a little bit. So before I'm going to start smashing this down in here, I'm going to get my orientation correct on my pipes and then put everything back together. Okay, so now I've beat this down in here so it's a good tight fit. Now you're going to be able to see what I was talking about. So I've got the orientation correct here, so it's going to go to into the down pipe here, and it's going to have a hanger on this side. You see how this kicks up? It kicks up right there and then comes out straight to be able to get that muffler a little higher up towards the bottom of the truck. So if I had put this on wrong, it was actually going to kick it down. Not a gigantic issue, but I want to put it on the right way, and I want that muffler to be sitting up as high as possible. So just don't forget about little things like that when you're putting an exhaust system together. Okay, so I'm back at the section where I've got this section on. I've got the small little jog pipe on. Now it's just fitting a piece to fit between this piece and the muffler. So thankfully they supplied a longer, I don't know, probably what, 3 feet, 4 feet section of pipe that's already been flared on one side, and that's going to go over this 4-inch pipe. So I need to cut this pipe, and I measured, I want at least 2 inches of overlap on this pipe and in the muffler. So that's 19 inches. So now I just got to cut this pipe 19 inches and I can put the whole system back together again. New life philosophy. I learned it in my shop today. Thank you, Lord, for teaching me this. Whenever you have a plasma cutter or you have a chance to use a plasma cutter, no, scratch that. Philosophy is always use the plasma cutter. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. Alright, so I got the tip back on, and it looks a lot better. You can see how it's in a little bit further. It's right underneath the fender, so it's just sticking out. It's not hanging out there like a weirdo. What I may even move it in a little bit further. Let me get it on the ground and kind of be able to stand back and look at it. But that looks a ton better. Now back to the actual exhaust system. Here's a finished look at the entire system with the cat out. So everything went back together really well, and now we get to see what it sounds like with the cat out. Okay, I don't know if you can hear that. That's that jet engine sound. It's a lot louder, and it sounds a lot deeper. Nice. I don't know if you can hear this, but it is like, I can hear the jet, it's like the jet engine sound all the way back here. That is crazy how much louder that is. I like it. That's nice. Not only can you hear a lot more turbine or turbo spool, it just sounds really good. Let's go for a drive. So I'm going to go ahead and head back out to the location where I got the 7-second, or I think it was 7. I know it's 8, but 7.5, something like that. And let's just do a 0 to 60 run real quick. I will tell you, just driving not even a quarter of a mile, the responsiveness of the accelerator is much better. It seems like the turbo like spools up faster or something. And of course the sound is phenomenal. It's not intrusive in the cab in any way, shape, or form, but you can definitely hear the turbo spooling up. And I don't know if the difference is that it's louder so much as it seems like it's spooling up faster. Like it doesn't take, it takes 2 or 3 seconds to kind of spool it up, and now it's like a 1.5 seconds or a second or something. It just seems like it's faster. Sounds louder at the exit. Alright, I got a flat 7 that time, and it is quicker, so I bet you if I did that again, I could probably even get it a little bit better. So guys, I would say here's the synopsis, or the final, I guess, results. Stock exhaust system, we were running about 8.5. Best time I got was 8, but averaging 8.5. So let's just say 8, because at the exact same spot. When I had the exhaust system put on, but with the catalytic converter, I got 7.5. Took off the catalytic converter, and now I got a 7 flat. So I would say, beyond reasonable doubt, we've got increased performance, we've got increased sound quality. It sounds phenomenal. Okay, so I'm sitting back here at my house. I didn't do a bunch of runs, but I just did the one and then kind of drove it around a little bit. Yeah, definitely seat of the pants. I can feel it better. It sounds better. It seems to get up and spool. The turbo kicks in faster. It just seems more responsive in general. I think you're good to go on getting an exhaust system from a performance standpoint, even if you keep the emissions equipment, the catalytic converter. But if it were me, and obviously you saw that I did this, I would take off the catalytic converter, and it opens it up. I mean, it sounds like a jet engine at the exhaust, and that's at idle. I can't imagine what it sounds like. I'll try to listen to it on the camera at full throttle. Definitely quicker, definitely more responsive. 4-inch turbo back, MBRP exhaust, go get it. Or a Diamond Eye or any other version. I think you'd be well served, and it really opens up the 6.0. So guys, thanks for watching. God bless, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.